Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, welcome to another week, another episode of the Medicine Ball Podcast. You could have chosen to spend your time anywhere. You rock with me today. Thank you. I never take that lightly. Before we get into it, let my beat drop. Yes, that's right. Welcome to Medicine Ball with your boy S3 to be exact. And if you ain't in shape, at least your brain should be. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Medicine Ball Podcast, where we focus on giving your brain a six-pack by exercising your mind. Now, exercising your mind means that you actively think about and deal with all situations by first seeking to do anything other than what you are normally programmed and or comfortable in doing. Now, if you're someone who struggles and wants to get better at thinking about things beforehand, as opposed to reacting in ways that require less effort, well, just like anything you want to get better at, it does require training, practice, and work. Now, I'm well aware that thinking about things beforehand as opposed to responding off instinct does require effort. And who doesn't prefer things that are easy? Well, the first step, my friends, can be very easy, and that's to begin to look at all things from an unbiased point of view, which in itself will increase your curiosity in life. Now, exercising your mind won't give you all the answers. You will, however, begin to look at things with more peace, understanding, and patience, while simultaneously equipping yourself with more tools and strategies to help you effectively deal with this thing called life. Now, before we go any further, I'm no doctor, no psychiatrist, no psychologist. I have, however, been diagnosed with bipolar disorder level 1 for 16 years. And to be honest, I got to a point in my life where I was looking at the person I was becoming versus the person I wanted to be. And that, among other things, required me to look at my mental health responsibly. So whether or not you're diagnosed or know someone who's diagnosed or have symptoms or just want to know more about it, it doesn't matter. Maybe you're one of the many people who could just use some tips, tricks, and different ideas to help you get through day-to-day life. Pull up a seat, kick up your feet. ELE, everybody love everybody. This is your home, no judgment zone. Welcome to Medicine Ball. I appreciate you. This week's episode, Season 3, Episode 12, Breakthrough. Yeah. Let's get right into it. Breakthrough. Really quick announcement. So first of all, I would like to apologize. Even if you guys couldn't tell, I could tell, and I wasn't happy with the audio quality of last week's show. And I know in layman's terms, they would say I was just doing too much. I was doing too much trying to video record it and one take it simultaneously while I'm trying to audio record it. And I know I have a habit of wanting to look at the wave files or the audio files to see if I'm peaking or not. These are just terms, but I'm gonna incorporate this more into the episode as we continue. But I like to apologize with y'all for that. So piggybacking off of that, that's another piece of the announcement. I have solidified a situation where I've been afforded an opportunity or blessed with an opportunity to get a season or 12 episodes of the Medicine Ball Podcast on video. The launch for that is coming on Juneteenth. I can go ahead and tell you all that. If you're in the Medicine Ball group, there's a little bit more information if you're privy to it. Also with the newsletter, if you go to the website and get the newsletter, you get this kind of information kind of ahead of time. So that is the episode. I still haven't got the sound effects yet, but we're going to get them going. But yeah, I was doing too much with that, but that's kind of what I'm working on. And I realized that it's going to be a situation, man, where I'm going to have to, use a little hack. So basically, I'm going to have to record the audio episode and then go back and just for the sake of me, I'm not overloading myself, use the same concept or the same topic I was talking about on the audio episode and do a video version. And it's a 2-for-1. Some people just want to hear the podcast. So in that situation, you'll be able to just hear the audio and you'll get one, version of it or one experience of it. If you like the video and the YouTube and all of that, right now I'm just banking content. I'm just getting content and recording as much as possible. Medicine Ball merchandise, man, it's sold out. I apologize. Thanks be to God. I like, this is a perfect situation, right? I really practice humility and don't think that high of myself. I didn't expect it to be that popular, right? So I'm working on a deal where at this point I'm taking orders and whatnot. So if you're reaching out to me, I'm at, kind of know your size and the color scheme you want, and I'm going to put it together. We're going to make it happen. I appreciate the support on that. Follow me out there, like, subscribe, share. I appreciate the support. Go search me on Facebook. The Medicine Ball group has been the numbers have every single day I get new people who join that group. So let's get into it. That's enough of the announcements, man. Season 3, Episode 12, Breakthrough. So y'all know how I do, man. And the first thing I did was went and defined or look up the definition of breakthrough. And it's a sudden, dramatic, and important development or discovery. a sudden, dramatic, and important development or discovery. And there were some other definitions, but they were pretty much, in my opinion, synonymous with success, right? So as I do this podcast, it's kind of dope, especially if you've been following me since like day one, because as I go back and look at just like season three, I'm able to see that a lot of the episodes are able to coincide with like real life stories that I have to relate to. And I'm just kind of aware of that, I guess. And I try to be very careful, especially if I use my job as an example, for obvious situations. So with all of that being said, as I'm going through, and again, if you've been following me, I've been getting really good with the journaling, right? And I even went out and got a little dope old school journal, it's leather bound or whatever. But like, I got a nice pen. The pages is nice. I'm really starting to get into it, and I even see like outside of the awareness and the emotional intelligence and things of those nature, just trying to see your mood as what coincides with what happens in your day. I get little stuff out of it like podcast ideas, episode ideas, right? And I'm journaling just like what I'm going through. All of what I was saying earlier about it, where's in my life, I'm journaling with the things I'm going through. I'm like, man, I could perfectly relate this to situations. So I kind of want to give that the preference. But as I'm journaling, I had a couple of rough days. So the first thing really quick is I had a family member, a cousin who was closer to my age, pass away in February. And unfortunately, due to COVID, without putting too much out there, her mother actually passed away here shortly. So that's a funeral that I'm actually having to attend tomorrow. But I've been going through it, my journal, when I'm writing down like what I'm going through, dealing with the podcast or dealing with work or just dealing with just life or dealing with the music. And it started getting me, because I'm looking for ways to stay positive and stay upbeat and practice what I preach. And it started to get me to thinking about breakthroughs, right? Like even on top of that, I'm finishing a fast literally today. So, and I know most people, it's just life, I honestly feel like, but it's a lot to deal with while you're fasting. And I realize I'm choosing to fast, but I might have posted on one of my social media networks because, again, real quick, God has blessed me to where like people reach out to me. If I don't post for a couple of days, people bring that to my attention. They talk to me, right? So I knew I was going to be doing a social media fast and incorporated with this food fast. So I just went and simply put on my post, you know what I mean? I'm fasting this week. I'll be limited. And I'm into the Bible. Like, I'm not going to, like, I guess they call them Bible thumpers, but I'm not into it like that. But it's just like, I'm aware, and I didn't do it for that reason, but I'm aware that there's, in Matthew, they talk about when you fast, you shouldn't, boast about it, right? Which I wasn't doing. So, of course, that is a more known, verse. So people, a couple of people said something under there and quoted that verse. So even, and this goes into the breakthrough thing, even in that situation, man, I'm going to keep it real with you. Like people who know me personally, and even if you follow me on this podcast, you might get the hint or the inkling, like I could be a real a-hole, like naturally, like I'm not even going to curse you out. Like I'm going to say something that you would rather me curse you out than what I could probably say. Right. And I don't even think that way. Well, I do still for a second, but it's like, so now I had to go and turn around and post a verse in that same book of Matthew about a thorn in your eye. And long story short, because I was like, first of all, I'm not boasting. Like, y'all got to understand. This is what I said in the post. Y'all got to understand, like, God understands that we got to adapt his word to, like, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but that's kind of the story behind the Old Testament and the New Testament, man. He's adaptable. He realizes that we are flawed and that he got to adapt some of this stuff. So all of that to say, like, man, if I'm communicating to people that are asking me for things behind the scenes that may be able to help them in their life, the people who reach out to me is not asking me little silly stuff. They're like, yo, what should I do with this business? What do you think about this investment? What do you think about this situation? It's a legal case or something, right? So if people reach out to you like that and you trying to keep off of social media, I think the big guy understands, like, you telling people in today's age, like, yo, I'm fast. I didn't boast about it or nothing. But even in that, I handled it in the right way, I feel like, because the post got deleted. And breakthroughs, that's just an example of my life of breakthroughs, because even that is a breakthrough. What are they? Right? So y'all know me. I went and looked up the definition. A breakthrough is a sudden, dramatic, and important development or discovery, almost like an enlightenment. It's synonymous with success, a new level of understanding, right? So as I'm going through, and again, go back and check the other episodes, like I'm just using my life just for the sake of time and explanation. As I'm going through breakthrough spiritually, fasting, I started this year in January with a 21-day fast that I wasn't even prepared for. This one, I was prepared for it, buddy. You could bet your tail, right? The job, financial, went to salary, music, beats. Like, I ain't balling, but like, I still sell beats and lease beats. Like, I'm straight. I'm blessed with that. Medicine ball, right? Even with medicine ball. And side note, so even when it comes to like shooting the video and me talking about that, to be like, when I look back and think about it, like, who the hell did I think I was, man? I was just gonna casually sit up here, no experience doing it before, and just shoot a video while I record the podcast. Okay, that's why they got actual body mics on. Okay, that's why they got actual lights, right? And that's why, shouts to my fast and the big guy. Like, I think like prayer does a lot for me, but I feel like it's most important because I want even more humility, even though that's not speaking it. Like, that's a sign of arrogance for me to just think that I was casually going to get up here and do that, no problems, and it was going to work out. Like, I had played with it before, but just like, nah, bro, it's not going to play out like that, at least not on my level, right? So as I'm journaling and going through all this stuff, I'm talking about breakthroughs, man. The first thing is, man, how can you identify a breakthrough? Sometimes we don't even identify them, man. Like, even when people talk about, people with more money just have bigger money problems, like, just think about it. A millionaire and billionaire, we think they got it made. Nah, we don't know what it's like to have to pay taxes back, worry about lawsuits. Man, you come into some money and end up getting smoked. Like, that's why people who win the lottery always got these crazy stories. It's because they had a breakthrough and they didn't even identify it as a breakthrough in order to see what happened. So how can you identify it, and what are some of the signs? And I'm going to run through them really, really quick. So, like, using me as example, financially, like, I was already becoming more aware of my money, but I just found myself more often than not in the calculator app on my phone, right? Or just like looking at my bank and kind of doing like instead of like keeping it in my mind. That could just be an idea financially. If you're having money problems, but they're bigger money problems, like say, for instance, you got this PPP loan, right? You might have to have you might learn some things about having to pay it back. Or if you are trying to use it to get your business off the ground, I got to have employees. I got to go through payroll, et cetera, et cetera. And that piggybacks on my next thing. The language start changing. So like, medicine ball is like officially legit, but it's legit to a level where I got people calling me about payroll. I ain't never had those conversations before, right? Like, people is calling me about insurance, but for like employees, and like, what do I want to do with investment options and that kind of stuff? If you're somebody who does business or from the music side, right? If people are talking about split sheets and royalties and distribution, the language starts to change. This is just a few examples of signs of like, and it's for the positive, of course. I'm not talking anything negative, but just for the positive, or language in a situation that at the bare minimum is neutral, if not good. What's going on? So when this happens, the next thing, because as I'm writing this in journal, I was like, man, I'm not going to get smoked this bad on my breakthroughs this go round because of a few things, right? Identifying it. That's the first thing. You have to be aware, and I gave you some examples. The second thing is, once you're able to kind of identify it, you still got to be careful because it comes with the honeymoon period. What to expect next after you identify it. Honeymoon period. You start feeling yourself. If it's financial, I give you an example. Some people, when it comes to tax returns, you go out and make a big crazy purchase. That was a heads up to you, like, oh man, financial, like I just lackadaisical with an abundance of money, even though I have other things that are like logically smarter, right? It could be an opportunity. For me, I've been talking, and it's God for me, you know what I mean? But I've been talking about video to y'all for a minute. And God was like, all right, cool. You've been praying out here. Cool. Situation. Like, oh man, now I'm looking at dimensions for certain kinds of media, and oh man, so this is why on TV their things look like this, because they're following this particular outline or requirement. And you start feeling yourself a little bit, even with that. I was like, oh man, I got this going on. You got to immediately get over that, because that goes back to what I was saying earlier. A lot of people, so just because you have a breakthrough, If you're not careful about you handling it, like that will be your peak. You will stunt your growth. You'll be stuck there because, and we're going to get into it. I'm going to get right into it. I'm just giving you guys a setup. You're not going to handle it in the proper way. And you've already proven you have the skills to get there, but you might not go back down, but you won't be able to go anywhere else. So you got to identify the honeymoon period. And then most importantly, y'all know how I get down, breakthrough. You got to realize that the break is through. Like, you got to realize, like, yo, break's over, the break is through. And that's the most important part I realized as I was journaling. It's over with. It's time to get back to work. Because if you don't, you're going to get smoked, man. You're going to get stuck there. You're not going to be able to branch off from there, and it's going to overwhelm you. And I'm the perfect example. Me trying to do all this stuff, nah. So let's get into how we can deal with it, right? And why is it a breakthrough? Why is it over with? The first thing you got to realize is, just like the definition of sudden, dramatic, or important development or discovery, it's a new level, literally. Like if it was a video game, you have to discover. There's new things to discover. There's new abilities for you to sharpen. You got to really look at some of the things that are your weaknesses and make them better. If you want to succeed on your new level, let alone go to the next level up. You got to realize the break is through because you got to discover, man. That's action. You know what I mean? You can't chill and relax and discover. And the other thing that in my instance, and what I feel like a lot of people instances are, you're going to have the same kind of things that were in your way, the same kind of problems, the same type of issues, just as your old issues on your previous level, they're just scaled up. So just like we could use the financial one, like, yeah, man, you might not be worried about a phone bill if you got a successful business, but now you're worried about that business bill, which is $1,500. You follow me? So they're followed up. So how do we deal with it? And this is the third thing. So I gave you a way to identify it, some things to understand. And now let's get into, what do you do when you get on this into this breakthrough level so you don't get smoked? How can I not get smoked, LS3, with these breakthroughs? Because we experience them all the time. Well, the first thing is, well, you're going to get smoked, but the first thing is you got to stick to what got you there. Not everything, and not in a rigid way to where you're not willing to adapt, but you have to take the same kind of ideologies and just ramp them up. So for instance, with me, with the management position, I took a habit and an ideology that, like, even though I was at the crib, man, I was at work 30 minutes early when I was, on a lower level. When they implemented new things, man, I complained like everybody else, but I always say this, I complained a lot less. So while everybody else kept complaining, I started adapting and accepting it. So that's what, and this goes right into number 2. So the first thing is you have to stick to some of your basics and just enhance your abilities in those areas. And that goes into the next thing. And what I was saying at the beginning, you're going to get smoked. You have to know that it's going to be pain, man. You're going to get smoked. Last week, you guys, now, mind you, God helped my mental. It was God alone, because something told me, yo, record your episode on 2 different videos. Record it on your phone and record it on your webcam, right? From a decent angle. Do you guys know I practiced for an hour just recording little intros and drops and stuff? I got up after the last week's episode and I did not record it on my phone. So instead of flipping out while I'm journaling and everything, I went back to my journal. Yeah, I wrote down in my journal, you're going to be going through some of them times, bro, where you ready to karate chop the desk in half, turning Hulk. You're going to go through them. You're going to be crying. You're going to be screaming. Mama going to be in the cage looking at you like, man, what the hell's wrong with you? And so because I knew that, I was able to get over it. So that's the second thing, man. Know it's going to be some pain, man. Like, everything is not easy. If you're leveling up, man, you're there because you already did something which was difficult to somebody below you or not on that level. And most importantly, this is what I've learned, man. Look for what you can in pain. Like, I'm the type of individual, and I call it the Mamba mentality. Bro, if I'm gonna lose the basketball game, I'm shooting 50 shots. If I'm gonna sit up here and think that I'm doing this podcast and I'm all tense and sweating, not even comfortable, the quality whack, man, I'm gonna politely go and use that same energy and immediately go look for better ways to record it, or be like, man, I ain't tripping. Let me go look up. Oh man, I recorded it on my webcam. Cool. I'm gonna use this joint. Let me upload it. Let me go look up what programs I'm gonna use. I know that it's gonna be pain. I know that there's gonna be stuff I gotta get through, and that's not to say you're not gonna go through it. You're just gonna get through it a little bit quicker. And that piggybacks onto the third side. And I know I say piggyback a lot, and I guess that's a managerial thing. So bear with me. I'm going to get better at that. But going right into the third thing, spend the necessary time early. If you already had a breakthrough, chances are you're doing something or spending the time doing something that the people who didn't have breakthroughs in that particular area or field didn't do. Man, spend that time early. When it came to music, man, I spent that time, put it in, doing the little crazy stuff. Now, mind you, I'm not as naturally gifted as a lot of these younger producers, but I can definitely tell you what note the key is in, what the next key is. I understand music theory and all that little corny stuff that people be like, oh, I didn't even know you could do. I'm always in studio situations where I'll be in there with the most tenured person, I think, and they be like, man, I didn't even know you could do that. Spend the time early when you are down, man. When you get angry, like this is what I tell people, and this is what I do personally, man. When I get angry, like I have this refuse to just get complete, and this is going to be our topic next week, chopping wood. I refuse to just completely cash in, bro. Like if I'm going to lose, I'm going to get something out of the situation. If I'm getting angry, I tunnel that anger into researching that topic for an hour. Until I'm not angry no more, until that energy is gone, yep, I'm going to politely research it and nip this in the bud. If I got to stay on the phone with Sprint or something like that for 2 hours and go through a chat and screenshot and all that, I'm going to use my anger to do the logical thing to still gain out of it. And these are just 3 ways that you can, there's more, but these are the 3 main things that have helped me, and I think it can help you too. If you're going through a breakthrough, if you identify it first, right? Because a lot of people just get smoked on the next level because they don't realize what the hell is going on. Right? I talked about this last episode, like even when it came to me going to church that day, and immediately I felt like God put me in a situation to test what I had learned, like within 10 minutes. I had to realize the heck is going on, going there, drop down on my knees and be like, pray. Okay, cool. Like I tell you all the time, even when it comes to religion, like I believe in it deeper on an emotional level, but just for my people out there on a logical level, like if he say, go to him, let me go pray. Let me see what happened. And it worked out. Know how to deal with it when you identify it. Stick to your foundation. And all of my topics kind of build off of things I talk about. You got to make sure your foundation and your basics is there. If kindness and politeness is something that got you to this level, continue to do that, but to the next level. Number 2, know that the pain is coming, man. Pain is love, bro, but you going to get smoked. You going to be crispy in there and that little steam coming out the top of your head, right? I used to think it was because I was angry. Nah, it's because I just got smoked, right? Know that the pain is coming. More so, and more importantly, look for what you can out that thing, man. Don't get smoked for nothing. And number 3, spend the necessary time early, man. If you got to sit up and do some nerdy stuff and do some research on your topic, if you got to do that extra thing instead of, if you got the money to pay for it, that might be something the necessary extra. Pay for it. If you try and get your business in corporate, pay for it. And even with me on a personal level, man, you trying to get your finances aligned with what God wants you to do, man, you better drop that tithe. Drop it. Don't even get into all that extra stuff, bro. It say 10%, man. Drop your 10%, bro. All right? Yo, breakthrough, but realize that the break is through. But you can make it, man. Maybe you feeling like, yo, you can't do nothing else, or a situation isn't for you, or you have exhausted everything that you possibly know to do. Man, realize you special. Realize that you're not here for the regular thing, the regular that the Joe Schmo is going for or whatnot. Take that extra step. Get mad, wipe your tears. You can lick your wounds after the war is over. Take that next step, and I guarantee you it is your breakthrough. And hopefully this episode helped you to realize that once you get that breakthrough, your break is through, all right? Either way, keep your head up. You got this. I believe in you. Yo, until we rock next week, I'm about to go chill, man. My fast is over today. I do got to do the video first, but we'll keep y'all posted, man. Go follow me. Like, subscribe, share. I love y'all. Stay up. I'll get with y'all next week. Yeah.